Hello everybody, GL1 here. Welcome to my online toy museum. And today we're going to talk about Aquaman and the most recent Aquaman action figures and compare them to the many figures that have come out in the past. So here is one of the most recent Aquaman figures, and the outfit that he was wearing, the Aquaman armor he was wearing throughout most of the movie. So as we can see, it has the double knee joints. You can see that, and you see the other joint in there. It has the double elbows. This double knee doesn't work that easily. It takes a little bit of doing. Sometimes, again, what I always recommend, I don't want to push it too hard, is you can put it in boiling water and then it will move more easily for you. And once it gets moving, it'll continue to move more easily. This gets a little bit in the way, but also it does seem like right now, yeah, see, now that one moves more easily, and then now we can get the back moving. So when things are really stiff, it's best not to force them. Now, it has a little bit of that click action to it, so it's kind of like a ratchet, so that's nice. It'll stay in place. You have a full function foot, and you've got the toes that bend. Again, that's a little stiff, so you got to be careful with figures. Sometimes things break if you push them too hard, so boiling water can really help. Sometimes a hairdryer as well. So you can see also that Aquaman has the torso joint and the waist joint, which is good. That really gives him a lot of dynamic poses. He's got wrist joints and shoulder joints, and he's got the extra shoulder joint here in the back. You can see that moving in and out. And that's a joint that was present in the Marvel figures made by Toy Biz in 2003 to 2006. Sometimes it broke, but it's not going to break on these. The plastic is much more flexible. If the arm pops out, you can just pop it right back in. So on the face, we have kind of a less detailed, more comic book looking face. Have a little bit of variation in the hair like he has in the movie. And then we have his trident, and you can change the hands, and unfortunately this one comes off really way too easily, so it's good to really secure it to that trident so you don't lose it. It pops off really easily, and he has extra hands, so you can put those on. That one goes on really well. It's not going to come off easily. And so if he's doing a high five or swimming, I guess that's what he'd be doing there. So, of course, the hair gets in the way a little bit of the head articulation, but it's fine, right? All right, so as usual, McFarlane toys come with a card, and then they come with the description, his name, Arthur Curry, and that he's half human and half Atlantean, and, just some information there, and tells you this figure's from the Lost Kingdom, so you can match it if you get confused as to where your action figure came from. All right, and you have another hand there for the other side for swimming, I suppose. All right, so here's the front, and right off the bat, I was struck by that this is only $20. Sometimes they are $22.99, but already it was, quite affordable for a well-articulated figure, and it comes with your usual stand, and you can peg that in the foot. But Aquaman will stand alone, because that's what Aquaman can do. He stands well. All right, so what's more interesting, I think, though, is to compare this with the previous Aquaman figure from the first movie. So let's do that. All right, so this is Aquaman from the first movie, and I sometimes change things. Like, I'm not sure if this is the trident that he had. It's possible it's not. And it's a little bent, as you can see, but if I put that in boiling water, it'll straighten right out. The outfit is different, obviously, but that's not the only thing that's different. Now, the articulation is the same, but if we look at the arm muscles, the Aquaman here from the I don't know, I can't remember if it's Justice League or first Aquaman movie. It's probably Justice League. But you can see that the arm's a little bit bigger, so he's more muscular, even though in the movie, The Lost Kingdom, the Aquaman armor made him look like super huge. They really use a lot of CG to make him look big, because he's not that big. He's a big guy, but he ain't that big. Not as big as they were portraying. So that's one muscularity difference there. But overall, it's the same height. Let me move that back here. And I changed the heads. So this head actually was from one of the DC Direct figures. And I like it better. I think it looks more like Aquaman. The head that came with this outfit, actually, I put on Jason Momoa's character in Dune, Duncan. So there's the Jason Momoa. This is now the Aquaman head that went with that figure. Okay, and you can see in the same kind of cartoony, less detailed way, in that way it's similar. But I ended up with more Jason Momoa bodies than I had heads, and I was wondering how that happened. How it happened is this figure came with a head where the hair was swept back into a bun. He didn't have long hair in the movie. So there's a DC Direct figure. I'll bring that out. All right, so this is the DC Direct, one of the DC Direct Aquaman figures, right as he went into the water when he met with Batman in the Justice League, all right, with all the tattooing. And so this is the head that went with that figure, and it's very realistic looking. So that's one of the things that is sometimes a weak point, I think, on McFarlane figures, is the realism of the faces. So this one even has the scar up over the eyebrow, so you can see that. There you go. All right, so I like that better. Now you can see that it doesn't quite fit exactly, because it doesn't cover his neck, and his neck looks kind of scrawny there. And Jason Momoa does not have a scrawny neck. You can also see that the 6-inch scale, this is 6-inch scale, 7-inch scale. So you can see how much larger the McFarlane figure is in the DC Direct. But the head, other than the hair not completely covering his shoulders, and seated down a little bit lower, I think it's just looks much better than the new Jason Momoa head as well. Okay, and let me show you here. Here is the DC Direct version of this figure. So you know what? Maybe this is the Trident, because it's got the 5 spikes, and here's the DC Direct one. It also has the 5 spikes. But you can see again the head very well sculpted. A little bit too big for the body, though. I think. I mean, the head really kind of looks like a 7-inch scale head, but you can see all the detail and the eyes and the color and the his brow. He's furrowing his brow. It's even more detailed than this one, and you can see the eyes are quite piercing and electric. So just really well done. And we can turn that around. Now the DC Direct doesn't have all the joints. It doesn't have the double knees or the double elbows, and it only has a waist joint, but they don't cost as much either. These were like $10, and these were, like in the $20 range. All right, so that's comparing that. Well, also during the time of the Justice League, move these aside, was a talking Aquaman. So there you go. You got a talking Aquaman, and you'd push a button.
Trident attack!
Yes, and he would be attacking with a trident.
I bring you justice from the deep.
And you can tell that it is definitely not Jason Momoa's voice. Now the articulation is somewhat limited on this too, but you're getting a talking action figure for, I think it was around $12. So you get that, elbow joint that rotates. No waist joint because the electronics are in here. So usually, they could, of course, figure out how to do it all, but they don't. They just give you what they can, what they can get away with. And then you put the 3 batteries inside the back here. the ones that it comes with are like practically dead because the batteries don't last long at all in the toy. Well, the other feature of this, much like the WCW wrestling figures that talk to each other, these are supposed to talk to each other. So here is the talking Steppenwolf, and I think we're going to notice something interesting about this. So I'm going to play some Aquaman talking to you.
Trident attack! I command the power of the ocean! I am King of Atlantis! I command the power of the ocean!
All right, so we got a feel for what he says, okay? There's some waves.
At last I will have my revenge on the Justice League. I bring you justice from the deep. Aquaman, you will succumb to my might. Kneel before Steppenwolf. Trident attack. Parademons ready for battle. Aquaman, King of Atlantis. Heroics are no match for my wrath. It's the Justice League. Aquaman, behold the power of my electro-axe. Trident attack. Justice League, vengeance is mine. Aquaman.
Okay.
Prepare for defeat.
So the point here is Aquaman is just talking to himself. He doesn't seem to want to interact with Steppenwolf. But Steppenwolf definitely recognizes that it's Aquaman and interacts with him. So, you know, if Aquaman, I guess, is prone to having a one-way conversation and really isn't interested in anything Steppenwolf has to say and is just going to say his piece anyhow. All right? So, moving on with more Aquaman toys. All right, so here is Aquaman, kind of our original-looking Aquaman, right? So, this is the blonde Aquaman that many of us saw, you know, back in the cartoons on TV, you know, back in the 80s and 70s, right, and the comic book. All right, so you can see that it's a similar outfit, but the new Aquaman has a little bit, you know, more detail in the shins. Same joints, though. It's McFarlane, so it's got the 3 spike trident, and so does this Aquaman. So, see how easily that goes on? It's going to have to probably, you know, what you could do is put a little piece of tape, thin piece of maybe duct tape on there, and then it'll give it a little bit more resistance and stay on. All right, so you could see, though, very similar in a lot of ways. Now, Jason Momoa Aquaman, who's 6'5" in real life, is bigger and taller than our blonde Aquaman, but arm-wise, looks like blonde Aquaman's been hitting the weights a little bit more. So we got that going on. It's got that going on for him. And, you know, it doesn't have all the same armor. But anyway, just to compare the two, right? So pretty cool. You got the little fins in the back on the boot, and he's got all fancy fins. So, all right. So that's that Aquaman. Well, we're not done. There's plenty of more Aquaman toys to go, which is really surprising. All right. So here I've got an Aquaman. This is a 12-inch Aquaman figure. Okay. This is also from the first movie. You can see it's got a pretty elaborate trident there, all the design on there. But what you'll notice is the armor is the same as this movie, The Lost Kingdom. So very similar, you know, armor, but from the first movie. And look, it's got the scars up in here. So very detailed in that way. Actually, you know, the face looks a lot like Jason Momoa, which is great. You got a lot of articulation on these figures. You know, you got wrists that turn and elbows that move, hips. And again, this is better from, I've said before, I say again, because every opportunity that I get, I do make it a point to say the DC figures that cost the same as the Marvel figures, the 12-inch hard plastic figures, The DC figures have double the articulation, and they cost the same, if not less. All right, so this is that Aquaman, but there's another Aquaman. I think this one did not come with a trident. But here he is. This is Aquaman, Justice League Aquaman. All right, so you can see it's basically it's, you know, the Justice League armor. Okay, and you know, he's angry. Looks angry, but you can see the armor all the way up and down. And this has the same, better articulation, but absolutely no lats. Apparently, this Aquaman has not been doing, from 2018, has not been doing any lat pull downs or pull ups. And I understand that Aquaman probably wouldn't do that, but he would be doing the breaststroke and swimming, and that would build up lat muscles. So Aquaman really should have big lats. I mean, he's got more lats here, you could see, but I don't know if he was injured and just laying in bed. But, you know, with muscle memory and training, he should be able to get those lats back. I mean, you can see here he's got, you know, big lats. You need big lats to be swimming underwater, especially quickly. All right, so I have more Aquaman toys, but let me go through a little interlude. Here's another Jason Momoa figure from Game of Thrones. So this guy, now I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but I did want to get another Jason Momoa action figure, because can you have too many Jason Momoa action figures, really? So here he is. Now this is pretty small. I guess this is a 6-inch figure. Let's compare it to 6-inch scale DC Direct. So you know what? It's really like a 5-inch scale, and because Jason Momoa is tall, I would say, you know, maybe it's 5.5 inches tall, but I think it is on a 5-inch scale. It does have the double knees, does not have the double elbows, has a little bit of turning at the waist, and you can't move the head that much either. He's got all these weapons and stuff, and it's this feels like a little bit of a brittle plastic, so I don't want to move it too much. It seems like the kind of thing that you know, is not real durable. All right, so we're going to get back to some more Aquaman toys. Believe it or not, there's more. All right, so here is an Aquaman toy that really came out, I believe, during the time of the Justice League, but it really doesn't have anything to do, it's 2017, have anything to do really with the armor and the look of anything in the Justice League. But it has pretty good articulation, twisting, it's all like neon, and it comes with a little friend. He's got a little shark friend, and we're going to see what this looks like under black light. And you can see, again, a really good rendering of the head, you know, so I like that. And here is a Justice League armored Aquaman. Again, this is, I think, on the 5.5-inch scale, and I believe it came with this trident, which doesn't stay in his hand well, so I put a little bit of a rubber band around for that. Same articulation as this one. All right, and get the head bend around. You can see the armor is a bit different compared to the DC Direct. All right, so this is more like, you know, kids, you play with it, but it's still good. The head is good and everything. And then here is Aquaman from the comic books, DC Direct figure. And at one point he lost his hand, and he got this really awesome harpoon hand. So this is a cool looking Aquaman. Very angry. And the hair is like floating in the waves. He's got this metal armor. He's got the lats, see? Doing that swimming. You can see the fins on there, on the back, just like the old Aquaman, you know. And it has twists in the waist, and then it bends a little bit there, and not a lot. And then, you know, you got your shoulders and your arms. It's a stiff figure, but you got the hips that go out like on these weird hinge joints, which obviously don't look good, you know, from the back or from the front. but they do. The thing is they come together closely, and they look kind of realistic when his legs are together. I guess it's just a compromise there. And then you got the twist, right there in the quad, splitting his medialis muscle. And then you don't have full articulation on the foot as far as sideways, but you do up and back and forth. But he'll stand on his own too. And there you go. All right. Well, I have another unusual Aquaman to show you. See if y'all have seen this one. And there you go. And look, it's got the hook hand. It's got the trident. He's He-Man jacked. This is like those old He-Man figures with the limited articulation. Doesn't have the spring. Legs move a little bit. Doesn't have a rubber band holding the legs on. If they pop off, you can pop them back on. But it's a pretty cool Aquaman. And this goes to Primal Age Batman set. There's like a big bat castle from the Primal Age and a bunch of heroes and villains that are dressed in a more primitive outfit. And I have that castle, and that will be shown eventually too. But look, he's got a squiddy little friend on his shoulder. So this is kind of a cool figure. Again, you could see got a lot of big muscles, a lot like He-Man. All right, well, last and certainly not least is this rare gem of an Aquaman toy. This one. This is Aquaman before the first Aquaman movie came out. They didn't know exactly what they were going to have him look like, the look he was going to have in the movie. This is Batman versus Superman. So you can see this came out a while ago. And yeah, after a while, the glue on the starts to give out here. You can use shoe glue and glue that back on. And you see it's coming up over here, off here too. But there he is. So it's got the 5-spike trident, and then there I have that. That's Superman too. I showed that in that Superman episode. But anyway, this is a pretty neat 2015 Aquaman figure, and you can see how they took elements of it for all the Aquaman. The hair color and the gold trident and the armor and the tattooing and everything like we saw. So, all right. So before I go with this, let's turn on a black light and see how that Aquaman looks. All right. So here's the black light. And as we can see, nothing really happens. But take a look at this. For some reason, his joints glow on this. Look at that. That's kind of neat. Look. You get the joints to glow. And then the pricing, the clearance price on that Aquaman glows too. All right. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Oh, no, I'm not done. Wait, there's one more great thing. Here's the little tiny Aquaman. And this is not the great thing. All right, look. Twist there, his arms move. Justice League Aquaman. There's a whole bunch of Justice League figures. The whole Justice League comes tiny. And Steppenwolf, like that. All right, but this is the cool thing. This is the whole reason I had to wait to do this show. Is I had to wait for Storm. Now, Storm was barely, should I say? Barely in the movie, I thought. And I wouldn't have paid a lot of money for it because, well, who cares? It was barely in the movie. But when I saw this for quite a reasonable price, and is really cool. It's actually cooler than the way it looks in the movie. So here, let's take a look at this. Open this up here. All right, so we got that out of the box. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is it's remarkably heavy and solid. So, all right, this is the first time I'm even touching it, really, other than getting it out of the box. So, all right, we got head articulation, and the fins move. Okay, the fins go up and down, and we got to put the tail on. So big tail, and that doesn't seem to do anything but just stay curled. Upside down. And there we go. Got that snapped on. So quite a big figure, probably around 2 pounds. It's really solid. And it's got armor on it. And then look, we have this for the stand, because how else are you going to play with this, right? So, all right. So you got your stand. Well, you know what? Let's put the ball joint on the figure first. And that's not easy to do. All right, so actually I had to use a hammer to get this on there. So once it's on, it's very solidly on, but you need a hammer to get it on. All right, and then you can stick that into the stand. Hopefully that goes in easily. Okay, move that back. Look at that back. Ah, and see the ocean behind it. And then put our Aquaman hero on there. This hand that keeps popping off. Really gonna have to fix that. Alright, so he can sit on there. Batman has his Batmobile, and Aquaman has his Seahorse. Alright, there you go. And it can angle. And I guess you can change the hands, although the hands are not really grabbing onto anything. So the Seahorse, he can use the power of his mind, right, to control the Seahorse. He doesn't have to direct it with a leash there. But maybe just to stay on, right? You know, and then it can move its fins up. So that's how it's going to change direction, right? Flutter about. So pretty cool. And here's your card. And we can learn about Storm. Let's see. Rescued by Aquaman. All right, so this gigantic seahorse, because no seahorse is this big. A majestic albino sea dragon. Well, it's not albino here. Is the superhero's trusted, loyal companion, bravely riding in a battle with the Atlantean king. All right, well, I don't know what an albino seahorse is supposed to look like, but this doesn't look like him, an albino, right? But in the movie, it's very, very light colored, so it looks more realistic there as far as being an albino. All right, so there you go. That's the really, really cool thing that you can do with your Aquaman figure. Let's see how it looks with Justice League Aquaman. Alright, so there's Justice League Aquaman, and he actually can hold the reins because his other hand is not a fist. So, there, it's holding the reins. Very majestic. And then you can shift the horse however you'd like. It can be ascending. Ah, hold on to the reins, Aquaman. Right. Ah. All right. So pretty cool. Or sinking down to the depths. A little bit, goes down a little bit. All right. So, all right. There you go. Really cool. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. And up next, Mara.